Last year, when the contract was placed before you, did you sign with blood?
I saw a short clip of this movie before it was released. I don't know if it was exactly the trailer, but it did it for me. I just knew it was something we had not seen before. It was refreshing. It's Mount Zion, and I did not think for the life of me that Mount Zion would someday somehow do a musical. I loved to see it. I saw it today, and you can still tell that I'm still smiling ear to ear just because it is different. Like seeing Mike Abdul, Gaze Baba, Ima, oh my God, all come together. It was so good. I mean, we see drama ministers do things together, but with music, it's like you singing alone, except maybe when they feature each other. But to not see all of them on one project, yeah, it wasn't like all of them, but the number we saw, it just gave that sense of community, that sense of, the fact that Christianity is really, really, really family. It was really beautiful to see. I loved every part of it. Now let's get to the story. If it's your first time seeing any of my reviews of like a Mount Zion film, we pick out lessons, we do favorite scenes and all that good stuff, but I feel like this one, I'm just going to be going like bits and pieces and all over the place. I've talked about how refreshing it was to see gospel singers come together and just do something. But now, let's talk about the differences of industry. The drama industry, they would usually come together. So when a film is successful, the glory usually will go to like the team that worked on the movie. But when a music blows, it is the artist. The attention is usually on that artist because that was the person who sang, and that's the person that will go for conferences. I said conferences, concerts, and that's the person that will get invited and all of that good stuff. So I feel like there is more of individual attention in that industry than drama. So it made sense that there is more of wanting to trend, wanting to blow, wanting social media to be not wanting social media being such a great influence in that industry, because really that is how it works. Every artist, or when they go to the studio, they want their song to blow, they want it to trend. And now in the day and age of TikTok, you want your song to be the next big thing, next thing that everybody's dancing to and all of that. Let's quickly talk about something that was really central to this story, and it's the blessing of godly parents. The blessing, not parents who are pastors, not pastors as parents, not ministers as parents, godly parents. Because imagine, what's his name, his parents were actually, his dad is actually a pastor, a reverend in fact, but it was someone who is a police officer that eventually helped him, could listen to him, was willing to give him to lend him an ear and even know, okay, what is it? Where are you at? What is the problem? Because I tell you, in years and years, he wouldn't have been able to open up to his father that was what was wrong with him. But the police officer has a family where, imagine when, what's his own son's name? Why am I forgetting everyone's name? Was it when his son, who Joshua Mike Bamiloye played, almost went to the first time he thought of it. He eventually did, but the first time he thought of it, and he just told his parents, "Oh, he's no longer interested. He's no longer singing in church." They didn't just blast him and say, "Well, how dare you?" You know how African parents can be. They can be a little too much. They didn't just go, "How dare you? Why won't you sing in church? Why would you say that?" They listened to him, and there was a conversation. See, I think African parents need to get to a point where they know that their children, at some point, as much as their children, they are also adults. As much as they are their children, they are also individuals who have a mind of their own. So even when what they want to do doesn't quite make sense or align to you, you owe them the courtesy of a conversation. You owe them the courtesy of a listening ear. I know that as godly parents, there is the, "Oh, I've taught you in the way of the Lord, you should know the right thing to do and you should be doing it." But things happen, life happens, and there are choices that will just look good to you. But thankfully, his parents in the beginning, or the first time he wanted to, his parents were able to tell him, "Oh no, this doesn't make sense," and were able to help him at that point. Now, still speaking about the police officer's son, Timmy, and his family. the scene where he was singing and his sisters got emotional and kind of just encouraged him and gave him that confirmation. Sometimes you know you're good, right? You know you are a blessing, you know you have talent, but you still need confirmation from people, especially the people that matter. You still need encouragement from people. You still need that, oh yeah, there's something here. That's just that down payment of believing in you. And it matters a lot when it comes from like your parents, your siblings, your very close friends. That's why when your family does not believe in what you're doing, it hurts. It hurts a lot. Or when they don't support you, it really hurts, because imagine how he was feeling in the beginning when his sisters were like, making jest of him for singing or for holding a concert in his room. Yeah, so that goes to say that if you have a family member, if you have a friend, if you have someone, even if you don't understand what they're doing, you don't understand their dream, you don't, the least you can do is to support them, is to encourage them, as long as it's not something out of line, it's not something dangerous or any of that. Invest your encouragement in them, invest your words in them. Now let's go to Kolade's father and Kolade. See, you don't bully your children into a calling. You don't bully your children into doing the will of God. You love them into it. You support them into it. You encourage them into it. Remember the scene where the police officer was like, "Oh, sir, if we continue like this, we're not going to get anything out of him. How about talk to him, you settle, you love him into talking." But the man didn't understand that, should I say, type of parenting. It was strange to him, because as far as it was a fire kind of thing he was used to, which I think some pastors' children can relate to that, because for pastors' kids, there's so much expectation, there's so much expected of you. Your parents just expect you to know. Your parents just expect you to act a certain way. Your parents just expect you to fit into the boxes in their head. Some they don't communicate. I know, because I'm a pastor's child. I'm not a regular pastor's child, but I'm a pastor's child, and I understand it to a point that sometimes the expectations are just too heavy to carry, and you need so much love. You need a lot of love to even understand why they will have that kind of expectation towards you. Not talk of how to even fit the shoes. Yeah. So Kolade and his father had a kind of relationship that it imagine him saying, "Oh, that if what you're telling me to become or come into as becoming a pastor would be me being you, I don't want." Because he saw his father transition into not being a pastor or not being a reverend to being a reverend, and he saw the contrast. He could say, oh, this man didn't have time for us. This man didn't express love to us anymore because of duty. Family actually comes first before calling, because family in itself is a calling. But let me stay on course.
See your life.
Well, I'm not called to be like you, Dad. I'm not.
And what do you know about calling?
I know well enough to know what it did to you.
What do you mean?
Dad, before you became a pastor, remember how we were as a family? As a shepherd, you cared more about your sheep than your family. Sometimes I would not see you for a whole year. Give me the role for head usher. Give me anything. But don't give me what took my father away from me.
That scene was really emotional. Most importantly, because it was a conversation between a father and a son. You know how men are said to, don't talk about your emotions, even men have daddy issues. It's mostly about women that they say, "Oh, the lady has daddy." Even men have daddy issues, and it's not much talked about. It makes them act out. It makes them do silly things. It makes them become the kind of father they don't want to become. Because usually when people like that say, "Oh, my father wasn't good to me," they now say, they now act out in certain ways that make them become exactly who they were trying to avoid, because they didn't deal with the trauma, they didn't talk about it. And it goes to that thing of saying men don't express emotions.
Olade, you are a man, but you still behave like a little boy.
Because I was denied the privileges of a little boy, Dad.
They didn't talk about it. some people actually need therapy, like long-term therapy, to dig deep into those things. Of course, you need God to walk you through that journey, but you also need therapy. That things that some men are just bearing inside. I love that the conversation was really about men and men. It's really a, like I said in the beginning, it was something different. It's a breath of fresh air, and I think we just really needed that. It's also a timely message. I mean, men's week, or men's what's it called now, was just some weeks ago. It's very timely. Just to close up Kolade and his father, I would say, don't let your children hate God because of you. Yeah, because they can be children only for a while. They will figure you out. Yeah, your children, you have figured your parents out. You have figured, you know the kind of, individual your dad is. You know the kind of individual your mom is. You can say, my mom does too much. Oh, my mom has anger. You can say it because you have figured them out. Yeah, your children will figure you out, and don't let them be, don't be the reason why they hate God. Imagine Kolade, saying all those things because he saw his father and how ministry, took him away from them. We saw Timmy's family, we saw Kolade's family, but we didn't see a lot about Samuel's family. By a lot, I'm saying we didn't really see his relationship with his dad. We saw his sister, we saw his mom briefly, but we didn't see his relationship with his dad. But one thing I would say about him was is rather that you can tell that there was a lot of pressure. There's a lot of peer pressure and industry pressure. He saw Kalade doing all of those things, and especially when they are not people that are far off. They are people that you either grew up together, you saw growing up together, you attended the same church, you attended the same school. You can say, if this person can do it, this person that I know, why can't I? Whatever it is they are doing, why can't I do it? Do you get it? So yeah, it's just the whole peer pressure thing around Samuel. And even with the fact that he had a sister, or he has a sister who is, he is from a godly family. It's not like he's not from a godly family or he didn't have help. And all of them had help. Samuel had his sister, Kolade had his mom, and Timmy had both parents. Yeah, and that scene where all of them just sensed that something was wrong and came together and started praying for them. Again, the blessing of having not just godly parents, but having and growing up in a godly household where people can actually discern that something is not right, something doesn't feel right, and they can pray, not just only discern and just talk about it, but they can actually pray. Because imagine if they didn't pray for Timmy at that point, we didn't pray for Samuel, if they didn't pray for all of them, I'm sure things would have gone much worse than they did. While I'm still on the topic of parents and their children, there is this thing in African households about the parent's ambition versus the child's ambition. It's almost like you have to compete with who your parents think you are. I'm not saying who they received or who they perceive spiritually that you are, what God will have you do. I'm just saying how they want to fulfill their own. Some of our parents have unfulfilled dreams, and they want to fulfill those dreams through their children. It happens a whole lot. Or they just want you to go into professions that add to their steez or add to their prestige, or just gives them some scoring points when they're talking to their friends. Now, a child's destiny is too heavy for you to use to score points. And there's also the part of, I raised you, I took care of you, you should do what I want. That is also bullying. That is a form of bullying, to say because you raised them, they didn't ask to be raised, they didn't ask to be born, they didn't ask to come here. Do you get it? So they should not repay you with their life and their destiny just because you raised them. Yes, we honor parents, but you dig the point. Let me not over flog it, but you dig the point. Also, I want to say that helping others is helping yourself. Just imagine for a second that the police officer, that is Timmy's father, did not help Kolade at that point and say, okay, it's fine, you can come on with me, let's talk about it. He wouldn't have known where his son was. He wouldn't have known how. He wouldn't have known anything. He wouldn't have gotten enough information. Helping others truly is helping yourself. Now let's go to the fact that we are talking really about a musical. Oh my God. Like I said, it's refreshing. I didn't think that Montaigne would ever do a musical, but it was refreshing to see. It really, really, and I love the fact that it wasn't just the artist that sang. The lecturer sang. This man sang. What do they call him? Elder for the record label sang. I think Timmy's dad also sang. I love the fact that it wasn't just the singers themselves that sang. Other cast members sang, and it's nice to see. Maybe there's a part of me that was expecting more singing. I don't know. Is it just me? They had a good balance of singing, but I don't know. A part of me maybe was expecting a little bit of more singing. Let me know. Let me know. Were you expecting more singing, or is it just me? Let me know. A part of me was kind of expecting more singing. I'm not saying they underdid it, but I'm saying a part of me was kind of expecting more singing. Before I go to my favorite character, yes, I would usually have a favorite character. I think my favorite scene, I don't know if I should call it my favorite scene, would be where was it Kolade's dad now? No, it was when the police officer, Timmy's dad, took Kolade to his father's house, and the dad was like, what are you doing here? Sorry, before I even finish that point, remember the scene where Kolade was scared and he went to his father's house, and the man literally chased him out to say you left. I get that when parents are hurt, they try to take it out in the best way they can. They try to push you away, but that is not reflective of what Jesus would do, because the representation of the prodigal son, kind of represents our relationship with you. It would not push us away. So I think that's a pointer for parents, people who are parents here. Don't push your children away even when they do something that you don't like or when they hurt you. And for people who are not parents yet, like myself, hold it in your mind that when you are, yes, you're angry, you're offended, but that is not the time to push away. Okay. Now let me go to the point I want to make. Was where the police officer brought Kolade home, and his father kept saying, the son of a preacher. And I kept asking myself, is he your son first before the son of a preacher, or is the son of a preacher first before he's your son? Does anyone get that analogy? It's in my head, but I don't know if I'm phrasing it right. Is it your son first before he's the son of a preacher? Because that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be your son first. It should see his father first before a preacher. Yes, you're a preacher and it shows in everything you do, but you're first his father before you are a preacher. I feel like father is not, I know that father is higher, honestly, is much more of a higher calling and of a higher pedigree than preacher. No part of the ministry is small, but even God is father to us. So father should come first. Now let me go to my favorite character. My favorite, I don't know if anyone can guess, is Mike Abdul. Ooh, that played, what was that his name? How dare I forget? Oh my God, how would I even forget? I loved the character. I think the transformation really suit him. No. It didn't feel out of place. It didn't look costumed. It felt so natural. Even his lines felt very well delivered. Not felt, they are very well delivered. It was so good to see, so believable. So from his hair to his lines to his body language to his costume, everything he wore, nothing looked out of place. Nothing looked too much or too little. Whoever did his costume, his makeup, his hair, kudos. That's all I can say. Yeah, every other character did great, but I feel like his own costuming, there was a lot of attention to it. His own appearance, there was a lot of yes, we've seen Elder in similar roles, and we kind of like see him like that, kinda. But for Mike Abdul, no, it's in fact, I feel like it's 100/10 if we're going to be rating his character, his delivery, and all of that good stuff. It was so good. Now, one funny part is just the fact that Nigerian police will always be Nigerian police. Because tell me why it was exactly at the time they needed you to come that your car, your van, or whatever refused to start. Like, Chelsea, come on now. Come on. And it actually happens, no sub to Nigerian police, but you all get the point. Also, I want us to talk about the lead character, Kolade himself. That's a great man. And he really, really did embody the role. I know I spoke about my favorite character already, but I felt like we should also give him his flowers. Actually, all the characters pulled pulled their effort and, delivered. Also, how will I forget? Gaze Baba. Gaze Baba was the perfect person to play Samuel, because you see all those lines, they are so like him. And the part where him and, what's he called now? What's this guy called? We're talking about, I want to blow. I will buy a car for my mom and I will blow. Is that not how boys blow? That conversation and the lines, it felt really, really like Gaze Baba. But yeah, I just felt like this movie was worth talking about. What are your views? What do you have a favorite character? Do you have a favorite scene? Let me know in the comment section and let's get the conversation rolling. In case you're wondering, my microphone stopped recording, so I had to do a voiceover on this one. Also, if there's any movie you'd like me to watch, like me to review, like me to talk about, please do let me know in the comment section. And do you think Undersiege will have a part 2? Is it looking like it? Anyways, and I've come to the end of this video, and hopefully I'll see you on my next one. For now, bye.